great occasion to be here with all of you. Books, as we all know, it's easy to read, but to comprehend as to how it would have come into existence is something only the doer knows it. And 42, and the count is on. You can very well imagine. I need not further elaborate on the author. It speaks for itself. So for a book launch by such an author, it's always a privilege to be there, standing here, acknowledging the work which he has put in on this occasion. The book which has come forth, the Indian Constitution, a confluence of law, art and history. It's not merely a literary event, I must say. It's an intellectual moment, one that invites reflection on ideas that shape our collective life. When the subject is the Constitution of India, the reflection assumes a deeper, almost sacred dimension. The Constitution of India is often approached as a legal instrument, an authoritative text to be interpreted, applied, and enforced. Yet, as this book so compellingly reminds us, it's also a civilizational document. It is not merely a charter of governance, but a repository of the Indian historical memory. Governance put a repository and the cultural inheritance, moral philosophy, and artistic expression. Mr. Ashok Nadir's work invites us to rediscover the Constitution in its fuller and richer sense. At the very outset, the book draws our attention to a fact which is very frequently overlooked. That is the original manuscript of the Indian Constitution, which was not a plain legal document. It pointedly brings forth a facet that it was a carefully crafted artifact adorned with 22 exquisite illustrations, as has been pointed out earlier also, each corresponding to a part of the Constitution. They are deliberate, thoughtful, and deeply symbolic expressions of Indian constitutional journey, from ancient wisdom to the modern democratic governance. In an age where law is often viewed through the narrow lens of technical precision, this book performs a vital corrective step. It reminds that the constitutional law does not emerge in a vacuum. It is shaped by history, nourished by culture, and sustained by collective values. The framers of our Constitution understood this most profoundly. That is why they chose not only words, but images, visual narratives that communicate meaning beyond text. One of the central insights of this book is that the Constitution represents continuity as much as change. India did not begin its democratic journey in 1950. Our constitutional ethos, in culmination of centuries of intellectual, ethical, and political thought. The illustrations from Vedic ashrams and epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata to figures such as Buddha, Mahavira, Ashoka, Akbar, Shivaji, Rani Lakshmibai, Mahatma Gandhi, and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose serve as reminders that governance in India has always been inseparable from moral responsibility. These images communicate an enduring truth that the power in the Indian tradition is legitimate only when exercised with restraint, compassion, and justice. Governance divorced from ethics is tyranny. Authority untampered by accountability is oppression. And the right without corresponding duty is pandemonium. These ideas find expression not only in our philosophical traditions, but also in the constitutional values of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. This book also underscores the genius of the Constitution as a synthesis of the ancient and modern, the indigenous and the comparative. While the Constitution draws upon global constitutional experiences, it is deeply rooted in Indian realities. It speaks in the language of the universal rights, yet it remains sensitive to India's diversity, pluralism, and social complexity. This balance between universality and specificity is one of the Constitution's greatest strengths. As judges and lawyers, we often engage with the Constitution through interpretation, through precedents, doctrines, and principles. But interpretation is not a pure mechanical exercise. It requires imagination, empathy, and an awareness of context. The illustrations discussed in this book offer a powerful interpretive aid. They illustrate the spirit behind the provisions. They remind us that the constitutional interpretation must remain faithful not only to the text, but also to the values that animate it. In this sense, the book performs an important educational function. It speaks not only to legal professionals, but also to the citizens. A constitution belongs ultimately to the people. For a document to live, it must be understood, respected, and internalized by successive generations. By presenting the Constitution as a living cultural document, this work makes it accessible in a way that purely legal text often cannot. The timing of this publication is particularly significant. As India moves forward in its constitutional journey, approaching milestones that invite both celebration and introspection, there is a growing need to reconnect with first principles. Constitutional democracy does not sustain itself spontaneously. It requires constant renewal through education, dialogue, innovation, and institutional integrity. This book reminds us that the Constitution is not static. It is organic. It grows through interpretation, through amendment, and through lived experience. Yet while it adapts to changing circumstances, its core values remains constant. The illustrations symbolize this, continuing anchoring modern governance in timeless ethical foundations. I must also commend Mr. Ashok Nadir for raising an issue of considerable scholarly importance. The relative neglect of these illustrations in printing and pedagogism, visions of the Constitution, which has been missing for years together, or maybe ignored at times. It is undeniable that constitutional understanding is enriched when these visual elements are acknowledged and studied. They offer a holistic vision of constitutionalism, one that integrates law with history, art, and philosophy. From a judicial perspective, this integrated vision has profound implications. Courts are not merely dispute resolution mechanisms. They are constitutional institutions entrusted with the task of preserving the spirit of the Constitution. When judges interpret constitutional provisions, they do so not only as legal technicians, but as custodians of the constitutional morality. Works such as these deepens the custodial understanding. The Constitution, as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar reminds us, is only as good as the people who operate it. Its success depends on the constitutional culture, respect for institutions, commitment to rights and duties, and fidelity to the constitutional process. By reconnecting us with the ethical and cultural foundations of the Constitution, this book contributes meaningfully to the culture and cultivation of our nation. In closing, I would like to congratulate Mr. Ashok Nadir on producing a book of lasting value. This book does not merely inform, it inspires. It invites readers to see the Constitution not just as a legal document or a code, but as a shared inheritance, a bridge, a connection between the present, the past, and the future. May this work reach each student, lawyer, judge, scholars, and citizens across the country. May it encourage deeper engagement in our constitutional values, ethos, and heritage. And may it remind us always that the Constitution of India is not only the supreme law of the land, but also a living testament to who we as people belong, sustain, and strive for. I wish the author, Mr. Ashok Nadir, all success in his endeavor, and especially the one which he shared with me yesterday, that he is bringing out a booklet, small booklet of few pages, which he intends to circulate all over the country, schools of all over the country, so that the people know and understand what our Constitution is, what illustrations mean, and how they work, and how the Constitution works. Wishing him all the best in all his endeavors. And let me thank the family also, because I believe the sacrifice comes through them. And I'm sure that they would have borne all the brunt which Mr. Nadir would have put on them. Wishing them all the best, and all of you a wonderful time. Thank you very much. Thank you.